Get set!
Killian, I'll be back.
Only in a rerun.
Go!
So it was late 1987 and cinema audiences were still catching their breath from that summer's South American jungle showdown between Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Predator when the Running Man burst onto the screen. So we're in the future of 2017 and America's now a totalitarian state where a fight for survival TV game show is the most popular programme in the history of television. Each new episode sees a group of convicts given the chance to be pardoned for their crimes if they can outrun a gang of stalkers across a variety of deadly zones. Now, like the poster for the film quite eloquently says, the Running Man's a deadly game that no one has ever survived, but Schwarzenegger has yet to play. Let's take a look. So my personal favourite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie always seesaws between Terminator 2 and Predator, with third and fourth place again being a head-to-head between Total Recall and this 1987's The Running Man. Now, The Running Man is probably the strangest but secretly best adaptation of a Stephen King novella, here writing under his pseudonym Richard Bachman. Now, its trump card is that screenwriter Stephen D'Souza keeps the book's basic concept of a guy on the run in a crazy world of reality TV, but jettisons practically everything else. And what we're left with is Arnie as Ben Richards, an ex-military man wrongly convicted of massacring women and children, in an opening scene that will eventually be twisted and used against him as he's blackmailed into being a contestant on the show. Now, you couldn't really have an Arnie film in the 80s without seeing him lift a car or a tree, or in this case, a metal girder, as we are reintroduced to him in a prison with his future fellow contestants, including the amazing Yaphet Kotto, as they mount a daring escape.
You're hell of an actor, Laughlin. Who is acting? Well, he's still alive, aren't you?
Now, quickly, I do have to mention that Fleetwood Mac drummer Mick Fleetwood is in this film, playing a guy called Mick, who's a leader in the resistance against all the nonsense the TV stations have been pumping out. And he's initially not too happy about helping Schwarzenegger out.
You're one of the cops who locked up all my friends, burned my songs. People like you took this country and turned it into a jail.
We don't want his death on our hands.
He's a cop. He's the butcher of Bakersfield.
So no sooner has the Austrian oak been stitched up by the chick who lives in his brother's old apartment, he's arrested and selected for the show by its host Killian, played here by real-life game show host Richard Dawson, who hosted Family Feuds for over a decade and was thus very well cast.
You've got talent, you've got charisma, and you got balls. And that's why I pulled a few strings to get you here. And that's why I'd like you to volunteer to appear on tomorrow's broadcast of The Running Man.
Now, the real awesomeness of The Running Man comes when the contestants are sent into this post-earthquake abandoned area of Los Angeles, and the stalkers are introduced. This is where you can see how future TV hit Gladiators pinched most of its repertoire from, with each stalker being portrayed by a character with a specific skill or quirk. We have the hockey stick wielding killer Sub-Zero, played by pro wrestler Toru Tanaka, the flame throwing Fireball, played by football star Jim Brown, Buzzsaw, the retired Captain Freedom, here played by Arnold's Predator co-star Jesse Ventura, and Dynamo, each get their own moment to shine and mostly die terribly.
Saw's part of me, and I'm gonna make it part of you! That's alright. Keep it down!
Now, when I was younger and certainly too young to be watching this was my favourite part of the film, seeing Arnie take on each stalker, dispatching them and then delivering a cheesy one-liner. It's fantastic stuff.
Hey, Killian! Here is Sub-Zero! Now, Plane Zero!
Now, like I mentioned, Ben Richards is not alone in this running. Along with him in the show are his friends Laughlin, played by Yaphet Kotto, and Weiss, played by Marvin J. McIntyre, with a last-minute addition to the group, Amber, played by Maria Conchito Alonso. Rather too conveniently, Amber works on the show and believes the way the media have portrayed Richards, thinking him to be a cold-blooded killer. However, she soon learns a lesson when she sees events in her own life get twisted and distorted by the government.
And not surprisingly, she's flaunted the law and traditional morality all of her life.
Go ahead, tell some lies about me now.
We don't lie. Phil, tell us all about her.
So yeah, admittedly there's some deep themes running through The Running Man, such as how the government plays an increasing role in everyone's lives and how even the most outrageous news and media are believed without question. The fact that Arnie gets a court-appointed theatrical agent always makes me chuckle.
Ah! I love you! Yes!
Don't forget to send me a copy.
And the fact that the film essentially blurs the line between game show host and evil corporate 80s CEO with Killian, who, after losing a few of his prized stalkers to Arnie's hard-ass tactics, futilely attempts to strike a deal with the Austrian Oak.
You cold-blooded bastard. I'll tell you what I think of it. I live to see you eat that contract. But I hope you leave enough room for my fist, because I'm going to ram it into your stomach and break your goddamn spine! Ah!
It's a minor shame that everything kind of descends into a bit of an 80s generic action shoot-'em-up in its final act, but I'm sure that as a kid that would have been one of the aspects of it that I loved. As much as I do love The Running Man, it really is a star-studded cult movie. The sets do look a bit cheap. The whole thing's conveniently filmed in a rubble-strewn building site. Shout out to the crazy roller coaster shoot thing that launches the contestants down into the game zone. It's totally over the top. And I love that the film even preempts digital body doubles with some outrageously state-of-the-art proposed CGI deep faking.
This better work, pal, or you'll be a digital memory.
Take it easy, Damon. We're loading Richard's image onto the database, and when he's mapped onto the stunt double, you'll never know the difference. All right, boys. Let's see you dance.
So it's the enormous charisma of Schwarzenegger and his amazing one-liners that probably saved this film from joining the mountain of straight-to-VHS sci-fi action flicks of the 80s. The Running Man was directed by Paul Michael Glaser, who you probably don't know as a director, but you'll know him as Detective Dave Starsky in the iconic mid to late 70s TV mega hit Starsky and Hutch. Here I think he does a really decent job with what he has. Whether he meant to or not, he fashioned a brilliantly tacky-looking 80s vision of the future, all leotards and shoulder pads and big hair. Helped along, of course, by an amazing score by Harold Faltermeyer, who practically soundtracked the 80s, knocking out music for Beverly Hills Cop, Top Gun, etc. Now, The Running Man seems to split even the most die-hard fans of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and yeah, it probably gets left behind a bit in a trail of Terminators and Conans and Predator movies. Released the same year as other popcorn hits like RoboCop, Lethal Weapon, Lost Boys, Beverly Hills Cop 2. For me, for sheer entertainment, it stands right up there with those movies. Go check it out.
The Running Man. Last season's winners.
No. Last season's losers.